Tonight, we're going to talk about managing our anxiety. We're going to discuss managing our anxiety and we're going to do a guided meditation. So, I have you guys live on YouTube and on Instagram. Hi, Patricia. How are you? Good to see you. Hi, guys. All right. So tonight we talk about managing our anxiety. We'll do a guided meditation. Then in an hour and a half, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we will be back for Myth or Mystery, which is a fun paranormal show where the audience gets to vote and join in on the fun. But tonight we're going to be, for now, we'll get a little serious and let's talk about anxiety and what that's like for us. So, if you have any questions regarding your anxiety, like how you experience it, how you are managing it or not managing it, maybe where you have some questions with it, feel free to put those in the comments now and we'll get to that. If we jump in and listen, just talk about the fact that everybody has anxiety, that's a given, right? It's not a matter of do I have it? If I have it, it's we all have it. And part of that is the planet that we're living on right now is very challenging. And anxiety and depression is almost an inevitable. And I say that not to be a downer or to spread fear. It's to allow all of us to feel like we are not alone and to understand that no matter who you are and what you do, you will be faced with anxiety. That will be a challenge for all of us. What we do to manage it, what we do to address it is what matters, obviously, right? Now, even even the most spiritual, even yogis for, all of their lifetime, they also experience anxiety and depression. It's that they have tools that they choose to utilize to help them with it. And so the only thing that makes you different from the next person is your willingness to address it, your willingness to do something every day to manage it. Every morning when I wake up, it's just like it's waiting for me, right? And it just rushes to the surface. And I think now, since I really started this practice, I mean, I've been meditating for 20 something years, but really committing to it in a way where it's non-negotiable, I would say 8, 9 years. And that's when I started to see my life change. But that's also when I started to notice every morning when I would wake up, it's like, man, this anxiety is just out of control. How did I live with this? How did I live with this before I found meditation? And the answer is I was insane. I was irritable. I was angry. I was anxious. I was reactive. I was all kinds of things because of it, right? Patricia's saying, I get very short nerved and I isolate. Oh, interesting. You get very short nerved and isolate. That's exactly what I was saying is I get short tempered, right? And isolation, of course, is another big part of it. And isolation is another big part of it. One area that isn't discussed a lot is that our intuition, when not addressed, our intuition when we are scared of it or are not dealing with it or acknowledging it, let's say, our intuition will turn into anxiety if we are not addressing it or not acknowledging it. And so anxiety comes from all these places. It comes from just fear of the unknown, fear of what's coming, fear of where we've been, maybe old issues that carry anxiety, maybe anxious over our job just because working is hard. You have your boss, you have coworkers, you have all this stuff, right? or school. Anxiety comes from so many places. And then if you layer on top of that, that it can come from our intuition, or, sorry, our intuition can manifest itself if we aren't addressing it and acknowledging it, can manifest into anxiety. Now we have all these different areas in life that quickly turn into anxious behavior. So, as a lot of us know, fear, anxiety comes from this in between state, right? It comes from when we are so busy living in the future and still holding on to the past and totally eliminating the present. And the present is where everything ultimately exists. It's where our emotions exist and it's where our intuition exists, which is why it's the scariest place for most of us, right? But the truth is, when you are living either in the past or in the future and you are ignoring the present, that's actually more painful than addressing and healing the past and then allowing yourself to look at the future, work towards the future, and then bring yourself back to the present. What am I going to do right now today to influence and affect where I want to be in the future? Right? None of this is easy. But this is a jumping off point that I think a lot of us are already familiar with, but we need to break down a little bit more. Patricia's saying, my biggest anxiety is raising my granddaughter because her parents have not stepped up for this beautiful baby. Okay. How do I deal with this? So, Patricia, I think what is going to help you is let me read this again. My biggest is raising my granddaughter. Okay. Is your anxiety, how do I raise her? Or is your anxiety over the fact that your daughter isn't stepping up? And so when you look at where am I anxious? Am I anxious around raising this baby? Uh, which my guess is no, because you've parented before, or is your anxiety around your anger and sadness and frustration with your children, your child not stepping up to raise the baby? And then when you can address that, so you're saying that my child has not stepped up, so that's the anxiety. So let's address that. So what I would say to you is, accept the fact that she is not stepping up, accept the fact that she is not going to step up, and start working from there. Don't live in the middle. The middle is, I'm mad at her, I don't want to accept that she won't. The middle is moving yourself into the present. And the present is, she's not stepping up, what is my plan? So being able to look at where this anxiety is coming from, it typically, for like in this scenario, and I think for a lot of us, the anxiety is coming from not wanting to accept the truth, right? Not wanting to accept the truth. And when we can accept the truth, it's painful and emotional. And then we move into acceptance, and then we move into the present, and then we can move into what now? So, what does anxiety look like for you? How are you expressing it? For some of us, it's not obvious how we express it. Like I said earlier, it was irritability, being short tempered, I might say being snotty, being all these things that was actually due to anxiety. Okay. And then what am I going to do to manage it? And I say manage it because there's some days, even for me, if I don't have time to do a long meditation, so ideally I get into meditation until it goes, right? That doesn't mean it won't come back hours later, but at least I start the day without it. But I don't always have that luxury. So you do the meditation. I tend to have meditations that are like for me chanting. When it's anxiousness, I need to get into chanting. If it's just kind of sluggishness, depression, fear, maybe it's movement, breath work, other stuff, right? But to me, I pull out the big guns, which is like long vowel chanting. And that really, for me, starts to calm and settle the anxiousness. And what tends to happen is when you get into that meditation that works really well for you, you start to get answers or intuitive insights as to what's really going on inside you. Maybe you become emotional or whatever that is. And the moment we notice the truth that tends to be buried super deep, oh, I didn't realize I was feeling that, or that was bothering me, or that was hanging on to me. The anxiety goes away because now we can start to process that truth. And so Patricia's question was so perfect because their question was, I have all this anxiety around raising my granddaughter. And the truth isn't, she doesn't have anxiety around raising her granddaughter. Her anxiety is over the fact that she wasn't ready to admit that she is sad and frustrated that her child isn't stepping up to raise her child. And now we can start to process that. So again, I look to you and I say, what does that look like for you? What does that mean for you? It means something different for everybody. So managing anxiety, caffeine just really aggravates anxiety. So that's the number one thing I would say to stay away from is caffeine, or start to wean yourself off of it. Alcohol will also the next day can induce that anxiety. Being careful about the sugars we eat when we have anxiety. Notice if we're emotionally eating. I'm not saying you have to stop, but notice it. And so maybe you'll move towards food that is not so high in sugar, so you don't have that sugar drop, right? That can also cause anxiety. Are we exercising? Are we moving the body somehow, even if it's just walking? So we have all these little things, right, that start to add up. I get an anxiety, so I drink. I get anxiety, and so I start, after I have my couple cups of coffee in the morning, or I have anxiety and I'm not exercising. And all these little things on top of a very short daily meditation practice is going to start to ease the anxiety. And that's what we're looking at. That's what we're wanting, is to ease it. I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm saying ease it enough so you can start to see through it, see the truth through it, so you can navigate and address it and feel worthy of addressing it. You don't have to live in it. Also, a really important point is a lot of times anxiety is what gets us up and out of bed. It's what gets us up at 6 a.m. and gets us going to a job we're really not that happy at, but the anxiety gets us there. What if you wake up and you get into meditation and you have this sense here, right? You might move more into like a tired place. And then you're like, God, I need coffee. Like, I got to get, like, that anxiety gives me the rush. Like, I'm speaking for who I was before I found this practice. Is my anxiety is what gave me the rush to get up and get out. And then you start to look for being productive. Look for being productive because that's feeding the anxiety and it's making you feel good, feel good, feel good. So there's all these weird things we do that ultimately feeds it instead of helps us see through it and beyond it. So exercise, yoga, watching that caffeine, alcohol intake, watching those sugar spikes, and journaling and going to therapy, all these little things will start to bring you to a place to where all of a sudden it's actually manageable. It's still going to come, but we have these tools in place. So when we're at work, we instead go out and take a walk, right? Maybe you can't meditate right there. I used to go meditate in the bathroom stall. Like, I would put in music, meditation music, and just do like 60 seconds of breath work. When I had an office, I was always meditating. And so we have these opportunities to ease it just enough so it's not overwhelming us and it's not taking us over. But we have to also kind of know in the back of our minds, are we willing and wanting and ready to see the truth behind this anxiety and then do something with it? All right, let's get into meditation. It's for anyone that's new, it's a short guided meditation. If you're new to meditation, get comfortable, lay down, lean against the couch. Don't feel like you have to hold your body upright. I want you to let the body totally go, closing the eyes. 3 releasing breaths. Deep inhale through the nose, exhale, blow it out. All right, one more. Closing the eyes. If you need to take a few more releasing breaths, do so. Palms face up for the moment. Breathe. Notice the breath. Really notice the breath. Is it deep? Is it shallow? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it long? Is it short? Doesn't matter. Just notice those things in your breath. And then I want you to notice your belly moving with your breath. Is your belly moving with your breath? Is your belly expanding on the inhale and pulling in on the exhale? Or are you holding the belly tight? Let it go. Allow the belly to be flexible and pliable and to move with the breath. If the mind wanders to the past, to the future, do your best to not engage with it. Do your best to allow it to go where it wants and needs to go. Do your best to not engage with the mind. Allow yourself to feel emotions. Allow yourself to feel. Wiggle the fingers and the toes to make sure they're not clenched. Relax the eyes to make sure they're not squeezed tight. They're just gently, softly closed. Relax the cheekbones and the jaw. Notice if the tongue rests on the bottom of the mouth. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Feel the breath rise and fall with the chest. Feel the lungs and the heart, and back to the belly. Just become aware of the heart and the lungs for a moment, bringing your attention here. Bringing your attention to the heart. Bringing your attention to the lungs. Bringing your attention to the belly. Relaxing the hips, the thighs, the legs, the feet. Allow the body to totally let go. All you need to do is breathe. Your only function is to breathe and then to notice the breath. Be here for a moment with the breath, with the belly. Keeping the eyes closed, I want you to bring the fingertips together so they touch. And I just want you to take a moment and visualize as you inhale, breath moving up through the belly, up and out through the crown of the head, and it circles back around through the hands, through the belly, and out the top of the head. I want you to feel, see, or imagine this light moving with your breath in a circular pattern from the belly, through the chest, through the throat, out the top of the head, and it circles back down through the hands, into the belly, through the chest, through the heart, the throat, and out the top of the head. Feel this circular pattern, see it, imagine it, experience it. Experience this circular pattern. Breathe into it. Flow with it. Just be here for a moment with this visual, with this feeling, with this vibration. Deepen the breath just a little bit more. And now bring your attention back to the belly, back to the breath, no longer moving in a circular motion. Noticing your third eye, noticing a diamond shape that sits in the third eye. Whatever comes to you is correct. It doesn't have to look like a diamond. And I want you to see this shape as it moves farther into the cosmos, but we don't lose connection to it. We don't lose the visual, the feeling, but it moves away from us into the cosmic force. And the farther it moves away from you, the clearer and more connected you become to it. The farther it moves away from you, the deeper you move into the cosmos. You start to feel your auric presence follow this shape, pushing out into the cosmos. What does this feel like? What does it feel like to be more connected to this shape, deeply connected to this light? The farther that it goes from you, the deeper you become connected to it. Don't try to make logic of it, just have the experience of it. How can we be so connected to something so far away? Feel that connection as if it was right in front of you. Breathe. Allow that auric field to push farther out and connect to this shape. Breathe. Your only job is to exist and breathe. How does this feel? Holding this connection to this shape. Allow the auric field to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, surrounding you and connecting you to spirit, to the soul force, to the cosmos. Allow it to be there. Allow it to be big. And then bring your attention to the bottom of your spine, to your sit bones. And I want you to run light right down through the sit bones into the center of the earth, holding you, locking you in tight. Feel the light anchoring you into the earth, grounding you, holding you. So our levity reaches out into the cosmos, and a rooted connection to the earth holds us, grounds us, allows us to hold the energy, hear the intuition, feel our surroundings. Anchor yourself in, holding yourself tight, grounding yourself. Relax the fingers if they're not already and fold them in your lap. Allow that shape, whatever it may be for you, to exist as your guide. But you gently pull yourself back into the body. The aura stays out. We want to feel our experiences. We feel the rootedness and the connection and the anchor to the center of the earth, trusting that we're grounded, holding us. And with these roots and with this levity, we use these two as a compass to move us through anxiousness, fear, doubt, depression, the unknown. Just be here for a moment and breathe. What does it feel like when your only job is to be still and breathe? What does it feel like to be enough? What does it feel like for this to be enough? Gently open the eyes, and as you do, hold the body still. I want you to become comfortable with the balance and the stillness while the eyes are open. I want you to become connected to this calm while the eyes are open. Showing yourself, reminding yourself that this is what you want your default to be. You want your default to be calm, balance. You want your default to be trust. You want to become comfortable at craving this right here and being willing to do whatever it takes to seek this peace out as often as you need to throughout your day. And as you make this your priority, this balance, this peace, this calm, you'll notice your life begin to change. And when your life begins to change, you change. And as you change, you start to help those around you to change because you're feeling invigorated by the change and you want to share it and teach it naturally. You aren't feeling overwhelmed. You aren't feeling drained. You aren't feeling forgotten. Instead, you're feeling like you're finding your place. What does this card feel like for you? Mind, body, spirit connection. Which one of those is just a little off balance? Not right in this moment, but in your everyday life. Just take note of that and bring that into your meditation. What does this card feel like for you? Abundance, that there is enough. There's enough for everyone. There is enough to go around. Society places this sense of scarcity, that there isn't enough, that there isn't enough time, that there isn't enough money, that there isn't enough. And that is not true. And so, what does it feel like for you to have enough? Enough energy, enough time, enough financially? What does that feel like? And lastly, what does this card feel like for you? This card is about balancing your emotional body. Balancing the emotional body doesn't mean we don't feel. It doesn't mean that we walk through life completely disconnected or not feeling. It means we allow the emotions to move through us. We use them as tools, and we get to a point to where we can pick and choose what we're going to feel and when, minus grief. Getting to the point of choosing our emotional state takes work. It takes those 5 steps: daily meditation practice, a healthy plant-based diet, yoga, physical exercise so we can hold the energy, and therapy when we need it. There's no secret to balance. There's no secret to success. There's no secret to changing your life. It's those 5 steps, because when you find a regular practice, you start to see life from a different lens. And when you are seeing your life through a different lens, you see new opportunities, you see different opportunities, you see different paths, you see a different way to go. When you're eating healthy and clean and moving slowly towards a plant-based diet, your body can hold this intuition and this information that you get through your meditation. And the more you can hold it, the more you'll get. And you want more. You want to be able to see through a different lens every day in every scenario. The physical body through yoga is healing and releasing past trauma, current trauma, suffering, stress, so that the body is open and energy can run through it. Physical exercise strengthens the entire being, the heart, the lungs, the muscles, so that when energy moves through us, it runs smoothly and we can hold it. And therapy when we need it, obviously, to release and let go. Give us the strength to do these 5 steps to get us to where we want to go, to reach our dreams. Because you are here for a reason or in a purpose, or you wouldn't be here. And that purpose is tied into your dreams, that which you want. They are not separate. Good work tonight, you guys. I will be back in 1 hour for Myth or Mystery. And we will see you then. And hopefully I will be back next week at the same time. Thank you.